Randy Hillier. Give him a hand. A fighter for you.
Thank you very much, Jacob. And thank you all for being out here on this beautiful sunny day in, well, back in my parents' home province in Newfoundland, we would have called it Thornhill, I think, instead of Thornhill. But thank you very much for being here at Thornhill today. And it's a pleasure for me to be down here with a great option is presenting itself to all Canadians very shortly. An option we've been all waiting for a long time. An option that is spelt freedom. That option is coming. We've got a federal election coming up very shortly. It's going to be a fast one. We're going to have to be on our toes. And we're going to be willing to work and put the effort in. But we can win. And this win is not just, I'm a little bit cynical about politicians and politics in general. Probably that isn't going to come to anybody's surprise. But I'm not cynical about one political party and one political leader. This country has got a choice to be made. You can either choose one of those 4 other national leaders. You can split their vote between those 4 because they're all cut from the same cloth and they all have the same agenda. And then there's one other party and one other leader who is cut from a very different cloth. Maxime and the People's Party of Canada. And I'm going to say to everybody, we've all heard that metaphor of the slippery slope. We've heard it time and time again over my lifetime, over all of us. We've heard it so often it's become cliche and it has become meaningless just about. But I'm going to say to you, we're no longer on the slippery slope. We're on the precipice. We're on a little ledge of opportunity, a little ledge of, when we look across to the other side, there is no more slope. It's a dark, dark place. If we keep going on the path that our federal government and our provincial government has taken us. Never in my lifetime would I have ever thought that a government would have the gall to tell me where I can go in this province, what province I can visit, that I can't go see my aunts and uncles in Newfoundland, that I can't get their permission to have 10 people over for Christmas dinner. Never, never. And I never thought for a moment that our children, our kids, would have to choose between an injection and a university course. Never. Never did I think we would be masking up our children and teaching our children that they're dangerous vectors of disease. Sending these little children home terrified, full of nightmares that they're going to harm and injure their moms and their dads, their brothers and their sisters. But that's what we've been doing. We're not on the slope anymore. And this government, all our governments, want to control us. They want vaccine passports. They want mandatory vaccines. And I want to just tell you this. There's been some reports out in Ontario in the last day or two. In the last 2 days. Yesterday it was reported that every person in our ICU units with COVID are vaccinated people. Vaccinated people. are in the ICUs. And we shouldn't be surprised. Our governments have been lying to us for 17 months. 17 months. They've been lying and telling us and spinning us a big yarn that we should be fearful of one another, that we should be fearful to be outside, that we should be fearful to speak to one another, and that if you have a view that is different than theirs, well then you're just a yahoo spreading misinformation. We know who the yahoos are. We know who's spreading the misinformation. And we have one option. We suspect this election writ will be dropped on Sunday. Then there'll be a sprint of 36 days. And I'm going to say, we all have to stand together. All Canadians who love freedom, all Canadians who demand their children have a future, have to stand together. And we have to start climbing back up that slippery slope that we've been on for so long. We have to get a toehold and start climbing up together, hand in hand, up that slippery slope and get us back up to the top of that mountain where Canada has always been. Canada has always been a world leader. So many people here today and everywhere you go are people who came to Canada from foreign lands, foreign countries, because of the freedom, the prosperity, the success of Canada.
What do we do about rigged elections? What do we
This
do
is
about
important
rigged elections?
that
Mr. Hillier.
we get up this hill, that there's going to be lots of people tugging at our feet, pulling at us, trying to tear us down. We have to be strong. We have to disregard the naysayers, the socialists, the woke left, the media, who are all trying to push us over that precipice. We have to climb up that hill. I'm going to be climbing up that hill with Maxime Bernier and the PPC party. Join with us. Get involved. Get involved with your local campaigns. Put in lawn signs on everybody's yard. Donate. Help out. Make phone calls. Knock on doors. Together, we will climb that hill. Together, we will make Canada free, prosperous, successful, and Maxime Bernier, come on up and tell everybody.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Randy, our freedom fighter. Yes. Actually, I must admit that a couple of months ago, Randy called me. I was in Montreal, and he said, I have an idea. I said, what? I want to create an end the lockdown caucus. I want politicians on every side that believe in freedom, who believe in freedom, will come with us. And I said yes. And since then, I think you can see all across Ontario, but not only Ontario, also all across the country, more people that are coming with us to fight for their values. Because I want today briefly to discuss two ideas, freedom and tenacity. So I believe that you are here today with us because you know that freedom is the fundamental values that draws us together. Freedom is the basis of our civilization. Only in a free society there is human dignity, equality of rights, prosperity. It's only happening in a society when you have freedom. And so now we cannot take for granted our freedom anymore. Like Randy just said, we are going in the wrong direction with establishment leaders that believe in a bigger government in Ottawa, a government that want to attack our freedoms. I'll give you a lot of examples. Yes, our freedoms are under attack. Under attack by, hello? Yeah? Freedom of speech. Can you hear me?
Hey, is that B still 10? Is that Bill
Yeah.
10 there somewhere?
Our freedom is under attack by the Trudeau government and also under attack by the Conservative Party of Canada. Why? Because they believe more lockdowns and also more curfew, stay-at-home policy, and also they want to impose a vaccine passport. And actually all that is against our freedoms, against our Charter of Rights, against what we believe as Canadians. So we need to be together to do our best for these politicians not to be successful anymore. And I know that it's a big fight. They have the mainstream media on their side. And I can tell you that our freedoms are under attack also by the leftist wokes, by the mainstream media, by the activist journalists that are saying that we must not be proud to be Canadians. I'm proud to be Canadians, and I'm proud to be Canadians, and I was in Ottawa the 1st of July to celebrate Canada Day, but it's sad that I was the only leader of a national party to celebrate Canada Day. And today, I'm mad. I'm mad, and you can call me Mad Max. I'm mad because I don't recognize our country anymore. Because socialist politicians, leftist politicians are in government right now, and they are destroying our way of life, our Western civilization values. But I can tell you, they will see me. I'll be on the stage because, as Randy said, we may be in election this Sunday. And I'll be on the stage debating. I will be there against these establishment politicians, and that will be fun because like Randy said, you have the People's Party on one side and all these establishment politicians on the other side on a lot of subjects. I will speak yet about ending the lockdowns, but more than that, I will speak for sustainable immigration. I'm saying no to mass immigration. I will speak to end the Paris Accord. No carbon tax, no Paris Accord. And at the same time, we need to be sure to be able to balance the budget in one mandate. Andrew Scheer just said that he will balance the budget in 10 years. But you know what? He is asking for a 4 years mandate, so he's saying the same thing than Justin Trudeau. He won't balance the budget. Why? Because he's doing pandering. He's pandering to every special interest group. And he's traveling and giving subsidies and money that we don't have to buy votes like Justin Trudeau. We won't bail out the media. We will cut the CBC. We'll be able to save $1 billion. We will also cut all the fundings that the Trudeau government is giving right now to the mainstream media. And you know what? They will have to do like their competitor. They will have to find money from their viewers. And if they're not able to have money from their viewers, they'll go bankrupt. That's it. So we must defend our freedom. And when I'm saying our freedoms are under attack, there's the bill C-36. Yes, you can tell me, Maxime, this bill is not in force. Yes, but it will be in force if we have a Trudeau government. And the bill C-36 is an excuse to censor us on social media. I will explain that. Justin Trudeau is saying that hate speech and hate crimes are very important and a big problem in our country right now. That's a lie. That's a big lie. Why? Because if you look at the data coming from Statistics Canada, less than 1% of all the crimes in this country are related to hate speech. And 65% of them are graffitis on the wall. So he's using that to create a new definition of hate crimes, and we have a definition of hate crimes in the criminal code. We don't need a new definition, but it will have a new definition of hate crimes with a new department in Ottawa, with bureaucrats that will look at what you are saying on social media, and maybe if you are saying something that is not in line with the socialist view, socialist ideas of the government, they will censor us. They will censor us on social media. We need to fight that. We have the censorship coming from the big techs, and Trudeau want to add another censorship coming from him and his government. So that's why our freedom of speech, freedom of expression are under attack. And you can count on the PPC and all our candidates to fight for you, to fight for our Constitution, to fight for our rights, to fight for our Charter of Rights. And we will win. We will win because
Yes, we will.
because we're telling the facts and the truth. And I can tell you that we will always fight for what we believe. And I'm asking you to do the same thing. Actually, as you know, I was in Manitoba, and I wanted to do a rally over there, a big rally in Winnipeg. But the government over there didn't want any opposition. So they did like in Russia or in a communist country. What you do when you don't want to have any opposition, you suppress the opposition. So I've been arrested, handcuffed, and put in jail for a known crime after a political gathering. That was political repression here in Canada, in Manitoba. But what I said, I don't know if you saw the video, but what I said when they arrested me, they asked me a question, and I was surprised by the question because that was the first time that I was arrested. And so the police said, "Do you have any weapons? Do you have anything that can hurt me?" And I said, "No." "Weapons?" I said, "Only my words." Yes, I will use my words. I will use my words as my weapons, and I want you to do the same. Use your words as your weapons. Be proud, stand up, and speak out for what you believe. If you do that, together we will win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the case, or what is the goal to have the best ideas if we don't speak about it? If we keep our ideas for ourselves? We need to be out there, and I need you. I believe that you need our voice, and I need your support. I need your vote. If each of you can speak with 10 more people about the People's Party of Canada, we will be able to have 3 million votes, and we will grow our support. The most important for us is to have a voice in Ottawa. And I can tell you that after this election, we will have some candidates that will be elected. And we will have that freedom voice in Ottawa fighting for you, fighting for our values.
Yeah.
Maybe today, our ideas, our freedom ideas, are not that popular. But let me tell you, it's not because an idea is not popular that that idea is not just and true. And an idea does not become popular because that idea that does not become, just and true because that idea is popular. But our freedom ideas are just and true, and they will become popular because we will speak about it. We will convince more Canadians to fight for what they believe, like Randy Hillier is doing since the beginning of that pandemic.
Yeah.
So, for us, no pandering, no racial politics, no identity politics. For us, we are doing politics for all Canadians, and we are putting our country first. And for doing that, I know that we will have a lot of support. I just want to give you an example of not pandering. And, when I said that, that's the end of the political correctness in this country, I said that 2 years ago, and I believe that. I'll give you an example, an anecdote. At the national campaign, leftist journalists called us, and they asked us a question. Actually, that was a journalist from CBC. And she said, how many black candidates do you have? How many gay candidates do you have? How many LGBT candidates do you have? And we said, we don't know. So she called back 2 days after that. And she said, I asked the same questions to the other political parties, and I have all the answer. So I will do my paper, and it will be in the newspaper tomorrow. If you want to be in that story, can you tell me, can you answer all my questions? And we said, we don't know. And she asked, why? And we said, because we don't care. We don't care. We have candidates that believe in freedoms, believe in this country, and are ready to fight for you. We don't ask them if they're gay, black, white. It's not important. And that's why when I'm telling you that we are doing politics for every Canadian, and for me, I like what Martin Luther King Jr. said. He said, I want you to judge my kids not by the color of their skin, but by their character. And yes.
Yeah. And they're undoing that with this cancel culture, and it has to stop.
And yes, all the cancel culture and the leftists and the woke, they will have a surprise the 28th of September during that election, because I believe that there is a common sense in this country. And our policies are based on 4 principles: individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness. And that's common sense. But I understand today that common sense is not that common these days. So that's why I need you. That's why I need you. And I wanted you to know that the platform of the People's Party of Canada for this election is the same platform that we had at the last election in 2019. And that will be the same platform and the next election, maybe in 2025. We won't change. We will always fight to be sure that we'll have a smaller government in Ottawa that will respect our Constitution, respect taxpayers, and respect provincial autonomy. That's our Constitution. We don't need to change our Constitution. We just need to have politicians in Ottawa that will respect Canadians and our Constitution and our rights. And you can count on every candidate for the People's Party of Canada. They will do that. They will do that for you, for them, for our country, for our kids. And I want to tell you that today, tyranny becomes law. And when that happens, revolution must become our duty. That's our duty today. The common sense revolution is there. The ideological revolution is there. And we are starting that together. And I can tell you that we will be successful. And I want to just end my speech by a quote that I like from John F. Kennedy. And John F. Kennedy said that in 1961, a long time ago, when he was elected President of the United States, in his inaugural speech. He said, and that quote is very, I think, relevant today. He said, in the long history of the world, only few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its maximum hour of danger. You are that generation. This is your role, and now is the time. We must defend our freedoms against these authoritarian governments.
Yeah.
So that's our role as Canadians, and you can count on the PPC to always defend our freedoms in its maximum hour of danger, and that's today. I want to thank you. I want to tell you that without you, we won't be able to exist. We need your support, and one of our candidates here needs your support. Samuel, I hope you'll be able to support him. Samuel?
Yay!
Thank you, Max. It's a real honor to stand here and give a speech on the same platform. Like what Max said, if we're going to live up to that role as defenders of freedom in our generation, then there are practical things that we can do. And part of that is we need people here in Thornhill and elsewhere to assist, if you don't live in Thornhill, to assist other candidates in their ground game to fight for freedom and get out the vote for the PPC. So if you're interested and in helping us here, we have sign-up sheets for volunteers. We would encourage you to take out a PPC membership if you're able to do that. And also just get the word out on social media as well. You can look up my campaign Facebook page by Googling Samuel Greenfield for Thornhill. And you can also follow me on Twitter and other PPC candidates as well, depending on where you live. But I'd like to share a brief message with you today. Just to give you a sense of why I'm doing this here in Thornhill. So my fellow PPC supporters, my fellow conservatives, fellow libertarians, and fellow classical liberals, we stand united here today because we recognize that the biggest threat to our freedom and well-being is the power exercised by government. It's not COVID, it's not guns or speech, which we find offensive. This fundamental truth is evidenced by history and can be witnessed across the world today. Stalin, Hitler, Mao, Cuba, Venezuela, and China. And so we are right to be skeptical when governments suddenly reach into our lives with all manner of regulations, unprecedented, may I add, regulations and mandates. The government wants more power to regulate how you express yourself. Bill C-10, Bill C-36. It desires to subject you to higher energy prices as it wars against our most important natural resource. You know, I always find it ironic. You have all these leftists who oppose building pipelines and developing our natural resources, and these are the same people who want to have an enormous welfare state. How the heck do they propose to pay for that enormous welfare state? It wants to erode your precious firearms privileges and even convert you to second-class citizen status if you choose not to be vaccinated. And the PPC doesn't care about your vaccination status. We're not anti-vax, we're not pro-vax. We think it's a personal decision and it goes no further than that. You know, these same people who told you that you shouldn't discriminate, that you should treat people with respect and that you should respect the choices of individuals to do what they want with their bodies, where are those people now? The government has prevented you from going to your churches and to your synagogues. It has mandated the closure of your businesses, and it has bribed you with your own money. How stupid do they think we are? We have seen those exercising their fundamental freedoms, protesters, even pastors, jailed, and we have seen those returning home from abroad detained in nonsensical quarantine facilities under threat of heavy fines. Even travel within our own country has been subject to charter violating restrictions. So I ask you here today, on what basis can we still claim to live in a free country? But this is what happens when the emotion of fear overcomes reason, when apathy overtakes action. You've probably all heard the quote from Benjamin Franklin, "They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." And many of our friends and neighbors have been induced to trade their freedom for what they believe to be security. But as it has been said, they have traded their freedom for the illusion of security. So the truth is that even if you have the best constitution, the best charter, the best system of government, those things alone cannot preserve freedom indefinitely. The preservation of freedom must rest upon a social consensus of values. That is, a culture of freedom which makes those documents effective. And so we have work to do to restore a culture of freedom here in Canada. We are guilty of having taken our freedoms for granted. We became comfortable and complacent. And I think we can all agree that now we're paying the price for that. There is much talk of getting back to normal. But I ask you, what is normal? Certainly not the prosperity and freedom we have enjoyed. That is an historical anomaly. And this is what the barbarians pulling down our statues and rewriting our history do not comprehend. They are engaged in a cultural revolution, but they are destroying a project infinitely better than the utopia they strive for. To be frank with you, in the pit of my stomach, I am worried for this country, as I'm sure you are too. That's why you're here. And for my children's future. I have 3 children. And so this is why I have cast in my lot with Maxime Bernier. Together we are building a coalition of reasonable people who love their country and who want their freedom back. That's all we're asking. Just leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Stop bothering us. All we want to live is a quiet, peaceful life. The PPC has an unapologetically pro-freedom platform. There is nothing radical about staying true to the values that made this country great. This is not an easy task, but it is a necessary one. And many will call you nasty names. I want to share with you in closing a quote commonly attributed to George Orwell, who said, "In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act." So I ask you this next election, vote your conscience, vote for freedom, vote for the PPC. Thank you very much. And please like and share our Facebook page. Sign up for a membership. And if you can become a volunteer, we would be so grateful for the help. We need a purple army here on the streets of Thornhill. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone, for coming out. Randy's still here. Max is still here. Samuel's here. Great chance to talk to them if you want to have any questions. But thank you. Great support in Thornhill. I think they're pretty scared over at the Conservative and the Liberal camps right now when they see this. Thanks so much, everybody.
Real pleasure to meet you. Yeah, okay. Okay, you're the shadowy mastermind of all this. Okay. Great. Well, it's a real pleasure to finally meet you. That's fantastic. Great.